I don't know if you saw Kent Hughes' latest interview on TVA Sport.
I did.
It was done. It was done in French, and I'll quote some of his answers.
Exciting
Um,
stuff.
it is exciting stuff. So there were a lot of questions asked, and I want to start with, to me, what caught my attention the most, because it's a question that many Habs fans are still asking: are the Canadians still rebuilding? I say yes. And the reason why I say yes, Anthony's not going to agree with me because he's convinced. Poor guy. I love him, but he's wrong. Before I even say anything, I'm just gonna go off and say no. Anthony's wrong. No, no, hold on. No, I'm not saying he's wrong. He could be right. I hope he's right when he says in 3 to 4 years we could be contending. I hope he's right when he's saying that. I really, really do. If he is right, I'll I'll kiss him on the cheek or whatever. The facial cheek, not the other. Anyways, I say the Canadians are still rebuilding because when you look at the prospect list, some of them won't make the NHL until minimum 2 seasons from now. Push even 3, 4. Okay, that's why I believe those prospects that we mentioned: the Lane Hudson, Owen Beck, Philip Massar, Sean Farrell, throw in Logan Mayu, maybe even Justin Barron. I believe they will be key pieces for this team to go to that next level, to go to that contending level. But until then, they're going to need a lot of NHL experience. They're going to need to play a lot of games in their junior seasons. Okay. Not only that, the team that we're seeing right now on the ice, Chris, as much as they surpassed majority of our expectations, playing, we didn't think they'd be a 500 team. We thought they'd be a below a 500 team. The Canadians are who they are right now. They're a 500 team. That was the title of last episode. That's who they are. If you look at their October record and their November record, 500, 500. If you look at the record now, 500. Okay. Majority of these guys that make this team are gone next season, are gone the season after. If you're going to replace them with some of these prospects that we have now, you can't expect them to fucking lead us to the promised land right away. Okay, look, it took Suzuki 3 seasons. Caulfield took him 2. Okay, Caden Gooley, Arbor Jacki are playing very well for rookies because they played a lot of hockey within the last year and a half. They went to their league playoffs. They went to their league finals. They won. They're champions in the OHL and the WHL. They went to the Memorial Cup. They played so much hockey that helped their development. These prospects have to do the same thing. Owen Beck, Philip Massar, Logan Mayu, they got to have that happening to them. Lane Hudson, kid's fucking dominating in the
Yeah.
NCAA. At most, he's going to play 35 games. He's got to play more than that. He's got to play at least 2, 3 seasons of like 35 games. He's got to play in the World Junior Championship tournament for the United States. He better get that fucking call, because if the Americans don't, I think it's stupid if they don't. But anyways, like you want a guy like Owen Beck. Even we'll throw in Joshua Roy, Riley Kidney. They need to play. They need to play lots of games. They need to go far into the playoffs, bring their teams to the playoffs if they make it. They need to play lots of games. Okay. And even at that, I mentioned guys like Joshua Roy, Riley Kidney. Chances are they're going to be starting their professional careers in Laval anyways. So
Yeah.
coming back to Kent Hughes, he was asked, is this still a rebuild? Is this still a retool or reconstruction? And so here's what he says. He goes, here, I'll say this. I'll grab a quote here. Here's what he said. He goes, je n'ai pas fixé de moment précis où on pourrait recommencer uh, envisage. No, sorry, that's not what I wanted to say here. Okay, here we go. I could translate in English off the bat. We want to do, yes, is it still a rebuild? We kind of want to do this as fast as possible, but we still want to demonstrate patience and make proper decisions. We don't want to make decisions that will hurt the future of this team. Okay. And that's exactly what I think they're doing. This is why they're still in the rebuild. I know when Anthony hears this, he's gonna have selective hearing, accelerated rebuild, and I know he's gonna be like, "I fucking told you." Like I know he's as he's listening to this right now, he's probably losing his mind. Okay, thinking I told you, I told you, I told you. Yeah. Anthony, calm your tits. What I'm trying to say is that it's not gonna happen overnight. Okay, this is the team we're seeing now is not the team that's leading us to the promised land. Okay, Chris, I'm
Yeah,
asking you this: are the Canadians still in a rebuild?
absolutely. You know what? I'm gonna throw this out there. Again, I think we're missing one more Nick Suzuki level offensive player, like so a forward,
Mm-hmm.
and I think we're missing a star quarterback especially on the power play, but on defense. To be perfectly honest with you, I think that we might just be lucky enough that Lane Hudson is that guy, and once again, that's 2, 3, perhaps 4 seasons away. On the front end, and this is also gonna lead you to your next point that you're gonna share out of that discussion or that interview that he had. We need to maximize and get the best possible player at this draft, which is
Yeah,
set to be riddled with generational talent. All like especially the top five. If we can get ourselves a top five pick in this draft, it will go very far in bringing a guy that's likely going to be able to sooner rather than later have the same level of skill as a guy like Suzuki.
mm-hmm.
So when that happens, until we have that, I still say it's rebuild. Until Lane Hudson proves that he is that defenseman, and until we have another, at least two lines. We've said it multiple times this whole episode, especially at the beginning. We're counting on one line to
Yeah,
contribute 90% of the offense until we have another top end talent, repeating, like Suzuki, to come in to control play, to create all sorts of offense, we are still rebuilding no matter what. And
yeah,
when we also, the question of rebuilding, just to solidify the answer, why do I think we're in a rebuild mode? Because as much as we have maybe the majority of the players who are going to fill, um, key roles in the future, we talked about the three young defensemen. We talked about obviously our first line. We have a handful of prospects coming up. you know the fact of the matter is that we are also going to be like losing a significant chunk of the players that we count on, like Edmondson, like Savard, like Edmondson and Savard. I'm sorry to tell you, but they will not be a part of the Stanley Cup winning team. Maybe one, maybe Edmondson if he sticks around. I highly doubt that he's going to stick around.
his
But
contract ends in
these,
2 seasons from now, so
yeah, when the Canadians win, the veterans will be Suzuki, Caulfield, and Doc.
Oh, you could even
That
throw in
Cooley,
Goalie,
Jack
Jack Guy
Eye,
are going to be veterans. Okay,
exactly.
so look, okay, so speaking of the draft, Kent Hughes was asked if he's trying to get another first round pick, and he said it. Yeah, he said yes, we are. He goes on the day. So just to give listeners an idea, TVA spotted Hughes at an NCAA game where Northeastern played Boston University. So Northeastern has Jaden Struble and Kent Hughes' son on that team playing against Luke Tuck and Lane Hudson. So Kent Hughes was there to not just see his kid play, but he was there to work to see his prospects. Straight, imagine we don't even we forget to mention that there's still Jaden Struble and Luke Tuck that are Habs prospects. Look, he was asked too, who are the prospects that you're not have high hopes for, but like you're enjoying right now. You're actually you're happy with their progression in a sense. And he mentioned guys like Sean Farrell and Luke Tuck. I could see Luke Tuck being a good third liner on the Montreal Canadiens. Sean Farrell, man, if he's the guy to be on the second line with Slavkovsky one day, oh my God, I would love that. Ideally, for me personally, I would love to see Slavkovsky play on a line with his best friend Philip Massar, but you're
Mhm.
going to need a centerman for that. Is Owen Beck that centerman? I'm not sure. Could we find that centerman in this draft? Oh,
Absolutely.
we hope to fucking God, yes. For me, that centerman would be Adam Fantilli, because if one day, if if Chris, just imagine, like I don't know if this is ever gonna happen. Maybe 5 out of the 6 players can happen, but can you imagine? Yeah, just picture this. Just everybody join us. Close your eyes and fucking just breathe, inhale, exhale, and picture this. Your first line on the Montreal Canadiens: Cole Caulfield, Nick Suzuki, Kirby Doc. Your second line of the Montreal Canadiens: Juraj Slavkovsky, Adam Fantilli, and let's throw in Philip Massar or Sean Farrell. Like, oh, that sounds pretty fucking amazing to me. And if you're and then imagine, let's say your third line is Sean Farrell with Owen Beck
One
and Luke
Beck.
Tuck and Luke
Yeah.
Tuck. Like, okay, like we're now we're talking here. If you want to keep Jake Evans as your fourth line guy, I don't know who the other players on the fourth line are going to be. I don't know if it's going to be veterans. I don't know.
Mhm.
But all that to say is that, like, yes, this is what we want this team to be like, and for that team to reach the lineup, that imaginary lineup I just said, you have to be in a rebuild mode. You still have
Mhm.
to be in a rebuild mode. If Kent Hughes wants that third first round pick, which player is most likely going to get him that on the current Montreal Canadiens roster right now?
Okay, right off the bat, that's Josh Anderson. Josh Anderson gets a first
You're
round
going
pick,
with
eyes
Josh
closed.
Anderson?
I
Not
don't.
in,
I'm not saying that I want to. I'm not
no,
saying
no,
that I
no,
want to
no,
trade.
no, no. But
I'm just saying that's
okay,
a
well,
guaranteed for myself. That's a guaranteed first round pick. I know
okay.
this is going to sound crazy, and I personally do
Hmm.
not want that to happen.
Okay, no, I know, but
Like I think Sean Monahan has more
I
value
yeah.
than a lot more value on the trade market, but I'm
Y-
not
y-
so sure. I don't know why. I don't.
oh, dude,
I'm ready to. I hope. Look, if we're gonna trade him, I just hope that we're ready to tell him, Sean, we're going into we're trying to get that rebuild. We're trying to become as good as we can as soon as possible. That quick rebuild. We want you to be a part of this quick rebuild. Please come have a conversation with us this offseason. We'll talk about a
hmm.
contract. Sean Monahan is another guy who's going to go for a first round pick at the very
A
least.
a
But
1,000%. That dude. So that's why I was in a bit of a shock when you said Josh Hansen, because I thought off the bat you were gonna say Sean Monahan. I still, having said that, same here. I don't want Josh Anderson to leave, but if I have my sources correct, well, not my sources, but what I've been
trade
hearing
rumors
lately,
that
hearing the
yeah.
room, apparently Josh Anderson is still in demand from the Canadians. And I
Mhm.
wonder if a team like you mentioned, the Edmonton Oilers, would be interested in Josh Anderson.
Well, the really funny part, and this is why I said it with such confidence, there have been multiple sources that have linked Josh Anderson to both Edmonton and
Mm-hmm.
Calgary, amongst other teams. But
Oh my God,
I
we're gonna
just
fleece
the
Calgary
reason
again.
well, the reason why I say Calgary, the reason why I go there and say Edmonton and Calgary is because again, the Battle of Alberta, the hatred there, when you
Mm-hmm.
have two rivals bidding on one player, the I guess the auction value of the player are I'm thinking in French, that's a French expression. I'm sorry, but the value of the player just skyrockets because you have two teams that absolutely hate each other that might be expecting to play one another in the playoffs for all we
Mm-hmm.
know, throwing as much as possible to have that key piece that they think is going to be essential in going forward in the playoffs. I will reiterate, absolutely without a doubt, come playoffs, Sean Monahan is going to be great defensively. Think Arturi Lehkonen or even better. Fantastic
Oh
veteran
my God.
presence.
Well,
But what did you say, Sam? Earlier in the conversation, what was the point that you made? Josh Anderson in playoffs, that player is so important. And
yeah.
that's why I'm saying, as much as Sean Monahan is going to be of great value, I'm absolutely going to go out on a limb and say first round pick. I think teams are just going to be stupid generous when it comes to a guy like Josh Anderson, and that's why I'm very excited, especially if he's not necessarily fitting in over here. If we're open to trading him, I think we're going to be like laughing at the return that we get for Anderson, which is going to
Well,
lead to
look,
other things.
if we could get a first round pick for Ben Sherratt, not top 10 protected, we're definitely getting a first round pick for Sean Monahan. It's funny how you mentioned Arturi Lehkonen.
Hmm.
I think Colorado's going to look at Sean Monahan because they need a second line center. They signed Alex Galchenyuk, and good for Galchenyuk for getting another NHL contract. But Jesus Christ, it's like Alex Galchenyuk is not the answer here.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if Colorado if they want to go for it one last time before Gabriel Landeskog comes back from his long-term injury. It would not shock me to hear that Sean Monahan's been traded to the Colorado Avalanche. And then again, it's any team that needs depth down the middle, they're going to give that first round pick to the Canadiens. But but it's fun. The thing is, the debate, though. Oh my God, Habs fans on Twitter are a special breed. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I don't care. But like, there's so many of them that are like, no, why on earth would you trade Sean Monahan, sign him again for long term? It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? What are you talking about? You could get a first round pick in as a projected, like you said, highly talented draft. I don't know when's the last time the Canadiens ever had 3 first round picks. I don't think that ever happened in my fucking lifetime, let alone ours.
But again, even if it's 3, 4, 5 first round picks, because let's be perfectly clear, and I want to get into this because we're talking trades, we're talking value, we're talking all this. I just put a pin in it. We're coming back to it. But these first round picks, guys, what do you? I'm saying guys as though it's a multi-person conversation, but anybody listening to this, what do you think we're gonna do if we have pick number 18, 18, 21, 27? We're gonna go down. We're gonna move down in the draft, and I think we're gonna have a better pick than that. But if we end up, let's say, with pick number 9, pick number 17, and pick number 25, just off the top of my head, do you not think that we can package those three and teams go, you know what? Fuck it. We'll take it. We'll give you a top 5 pick.
They could. They could use that.
I think it's absolutely feasible. And now to go back to the thing that we said, put a pin in. Well, that's what's so exciting about this season. I see Joel Edmondson. I see guys like, okay, let's go with the guys that we're already saying. Monahan, Anderson, Edmondson's name is coming up.
Big time. Yes, it really is. It really is.
Those right there, look, he might not go fetch a first round pick, Edmondson.
Man, if I'm telling you, if Sherratt can go, so can Edmondson. And I'll tell you why. Stanley Cup champion, Stanley Cup finalist.
Yeah. No, Edmondson, I think he's a huge. He could very well go for it. I think we can get picks. We're not getting first round picks. Perfectly clear here. We're not getting picks for a guy like Armia, but Armia is another Lehkonen type player who might go just for pure special team purposes for like a third round pick. I think Armia might go for like a third round pick type thing to go for a defensive role. He plays on the penalty kill all the time.
It depends the team. If you're going to trade Edmondson, though, I see if you're not going to get a first round pick for Edmondson, which I still believe they can, it really depends who they go to. I see another return, kind of like what they got for Lehkonen, a second round pick and a pretty almost established prospect. That's what I think. Because let's just shoot the shit here and pretend we got a first round pick for Sean Monahan. That's three first round picks in this coming draft.
Sean Monahan, we got paid a first round pick to take him, and we're gonna get a first round pick to trade him away.
Well, fuck. That's just
Kent Hughes.
That's Kent Hughes. I want to fucking kiss that bald head of his. And Jeff Gordon, when I saw him at the draft, I should have kissed him then. So now my question is, would they actually go for a fourth first round pick in the same draft?
Of
If
course.
anything, I well, the not that it's a problem. It's a good problem to have. You got to think too. If these first round picks pan out to be excellent hockey players, you got to think contract wise. Like, are you able to afford all these guys? You get what I'm saying? That's
Yes.
that's another thing. Anyways, if they do get a fourth first round pick, chances are, this is the feeling I get. It's just a feeling. It'll be for next, not this coming draft, not at the end of the season, but at the end of next season. So once again, they'll have 2 first round picks in another draft from
Okay,
this one.
this is going to be our first disagreement of the night, and I say it with the utmost respect. And
Yeah,
I
you better,
think I
motherfucker.
yeah, I think you'll agree that again, if this is a generational draft, if this is going to be a fantastic draft, and we say, look, guys like Slavkovsky, if they were to go in this draft, they would be
Mm-hmm.
drafted after the 10th pick. The way I see it is you absolutely want, look, if they're going to end up trading 2 or 3 picks to move down to get a really, really top end, hey, why the hell would you not want a guy who's 10th to 15th overall? I think a fourth round pick would enable them to have a second guy in the first round. And just the name that comes to mind is Massar. That guy,
Yeah.
I think he's going to turn out to be a real good steal. And it's kind of like protection. If they get a fourth pick, they can play around with up to 3 and still have a pick of their own in the first draft somewhere in the middle. So that's why I say I think they're going to do everything possible to go to the draft that's guaranteed to be overloaded with talent rather than push it off to next year.
No,
And
I get what you're saying. I really do. It's just it's because look, again, hypothetically speaking, if they were to get a fourth first round pick in this draft, chances are half of the picks, like 2 of our picks, are going to be top. As optimistic as I can be, they're going to be top 15, and even at that, the 2 picks that we have, the Canadians and the Panthers, if the season goes out the way both teams are playing, we with those 2 picks, we might pick between 10 and 15, which is still pretty good because
yes,
all things considering the way this draft is supposed to be. But those other 2 picks that we're going to get from teams that are making the playoffs, you'll pick what, 20th, between 20th and, well, if they win the Stanley Cup, between 20th and 32. It really all
yeah.
depends, and I think some conditions are going to come with it too, though.
Mhm.
That again, I'm just going with a feeling here. Like it's oh, fuck. It could be. It's like, no, wherever you finish, that's where we pick. There's some conditions that if the Canadians, if not the Canadians, if team makes past the first round, then they get the initial pick. But if they go past this round, they don't make past this round, the team could decide
Yeah.
which pick they want to give, and blah 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 blah. There's all those fucking conditions that like complicate things, but it could be one of those. That's just the feeling I get. But I Kent Hughes and Jeff Gordon know what they're doing, though. And again, despite the way the team's been playing, it is not altering their plans. And that's what I
Yeah.
fucking love about these 2. They're not
Mhm.
changing a single damn thing. Jeff Gordon was interviewed on LDS before the game started. Pierre Hood asked him, "Are you on schedule? Are you ahead of schedule? What's going on here?" And Jeff Gordon said, "I think we're on schedule. I'm not giving timelines." When he said
Mhm.
that, I was like, God bless this man. I'm gonna go to the Bell Center
Mhm.
just to stalk him and kiss him before he gets to his car. But this is it's again, like we've mentioned this so many times, but like, Jesus fucking Christ, it's so refreshing knowing that we have guys in the head office that know what they're doing.